Blynd Submyshynz, where DIY bands submit songs for us to listen and react to blind. Every week, we'll bring a guest from the underground music, arts, or entertainment scene to help you sort through mountains of new music. We go in blind so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz. Welcome to the newest episode of
Blynd Submyshynz.
On today's episode, we will be welcoming Matty Jones, whose band Villain just released their latest album last week. Villain is a Utah hardcore slash metalcore slash post-hardcore sort of super group. It's another one of those, a bunch of guys that used to play in bands back in the 90s, kind of everybody in the scene. And then, as we got old, what do you do when you turn 40? You start another band.
Yep, back at it.
Exactly. But it's, they just released it last week. It's really good. Really good. So, Jeff, I know you're not the biggest fan of hardcore. So
hey, look, no. Let's say this. I am not a fan of hardcore. I just never dug into it deep. So I don't have anything against hardcore. It's just like, sort of the point of this podcast, in the giant sea of music.
Yes. It's
one ocean that I just didn't really dip my toes into very far. Although I can say I do have one funny story, and this is going to piss some people off, but that's fine. Saw a killer show. Oh, I don't even remember when it was. Somebody will go look it up. San Jose State Event Center, like 15 years ago. High on Fire, Mastodon, and Converge. And the whole time Converge was playing, I was just staring in disbelief at my friends, asking why there was like a chicken up on stage screaming for I mean, I didn't know what I didn't know what I was listening to. I was super drunk. I was there to see High on Fire and Mastodon, and Converge just came out of, completely out of left field for me as a person who just didn't really dip into hardcore. Now I like Converge, and Ben Keller, who's the drummer, is the drummer for Mutoid Man, which is one of my, current all-time favorite bands, and forced me to go back and re-listen to Converge and experience them a new way. But drunk when you're waiting for High on Fire is not live. It's not.
That's not how you want to experience Converge for the first time.
Probably not the ideal first experience.
Oh, I have to admit, even as somebody that did grow up in hardcore and played in hardcore bands, I really, really wanted to like Converge. But like we've talked about before, the singing is paramount for me.
Yeah.
And I just could never get into the vocals. I couldn't. So why don't we bring Matty?
Should we bring Matty in?
Yeah, let's introduce this guy.
Enough of our bullshit. Matty Jones. And he's joining. I see his name. I see his face.
Hello,
What's up?
Matt.
How's it going?
Good, how are you guys?
Doing very well.
I'm noticing skeletons in the background. What the hell is going on at your house?
My wife does this thing every year around Halloween. It's the Mr. and Mrs. Bones. So she does 30 days of pictures with them and their antics, and she'll post a couple of videos a week. It's pretty ridiculous, but
sort of
it's
Elf
also
on a Shelf, but with skeletons.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like Elf on a Shelf, but likable.
But with skeletons.
Nice.
I live in a Halloween house. We have more Halloween bins in storage than Christmas bins. My kids are super stoked. They started decorating, especially this year with all the nonsense going on. We started decorating for Halloween at the beginning of September because it's why wait? The stores had all the shit out, so we might as well enjoy it.
Hey,
yeah, there's skeletons. Yeah, there's skeletons everywhere on the other side of this, all over our piano, just crazy, out of control.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I dig it.
Well, since you and JD go way back, JD's going to go ahead and drive the portion where
I'm driving this car,
where we dig some information out of you, and I'll just sit back and enjoy.
Exactly.
Excellent.
So before you came on, we were kind of talking about Villain, this sort of hardcore renaissance band that you started with a bunch of other guys that we all kind of grew up with in the 90s and sort of made up the scene. Kind of just making a joke about how it seems like everybody that played together in bands in the 90s are now now that they're 40 sort of redoing this band thing, getting it going once again. So you know, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, we'll talk a little bit more about that, because I'd love for you to sort of talk about, you know, Villain, and we can listen to the album a little bit later. But you're also in another band called Only Ghosts, which is sort of, I mean, not even that close. Like, they're completely, almost, I wouldn't say diametrically opposed to one another, but, you know, it is like two different listening experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Only
I would
Ghosts.
love to know. I think we might be on a delay here.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But,
Okay.
you know, tell us about, I would love to know, because I don't even know this. You know, we've known each other for 25 years, probably. How did you get into music? What was it that made you pick up a guitar back in the day?
My parents were always into music. You know, instead of really kind of being a TV kid, I would sit in the living room with my dad and listen to records, and he was mostly a jazz guy. But we had, like, you know, Beatles and Fleetwood Mac and Doobie Brothers, like Michael McDonald era Doobie Brothers records that I fell in love with, like Earth, Wind, and Fire. So always really been listening to music. You know, I think my first 45 was a Police 45. And it just kind of went from there. I wanted to start playing guitar forever. I had like a Dukes of Hazzard little like acoustic thing, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I saw Pete Townsend on MTV, and just like some old stock footage of him doing the windmill, and then him like destroying his guitar. That really struck a chord with me, and I destroyed my Dukes of Hazzard guitar. But I literally bugged my parents for years about playing the electric guitar. They're like, no, you're going to get an acoustic first and take lessons. And I was like, I don't want to play the grandpa guitar. But, you know, I think like a lot of kids, you know, when we were kids, our age, like the kind of gateway to the music that we listened to, for at least I probably can say the same for you, JD, was skateboarding.
Oh, totally.
And yeah, so once, you know, I was already into metal and some punk rock stuff because I was a skateboarder. But then I started to get into like hardcore bands because, you know, they used to do this thing at classic skating, and classic skating is like a roller skate rink. And there's one in Sandy. They used to be all over, but they used to host skate jams, and like you'd have a bunch of ramps and stuff and some obstacles, and then they close that down and bring out a bunch of like hardcore punk bands. And what I saw was kids that dressed like me, that were like kind of on the cleaner cut side, you know. I was like too nice and squeaky looking for the metal kids, and none of my skate friends really listen to metal. So that kind of created this familiarity to me. And from then on, I was literally like I was singing in bands. I finally caved and got a grandpa guitar and started taking lessons. And the impetus of that was that I wanted to write my own song. So that started immediately. Starting taking lessons, learning Metallica riffs, and having friends that like leave their electric guitars around, you know, until finally getting my own. And then, you know, I was always in bands. From the time I got a guitar, I was in bands.
So how old? Like 15?
13.
13?
12 and 13, yeah. We'd play like house parties, and I was like the singer at the time. A really funny memory was that I used to have to write down my lyrics on a page because I'm really forgetful. And we covered Metallica's Creeping Death, and like the only way I could get the lyrics was by listening to it. And because I had my cassette was just like, it didn't have the lyrics or anything in it. So I had to transcribe what I thought James Hetfield was singing. And like we were at a party, and these older, like super hesh dudes like found my notebook, and they found like what I wrote for Creeping Death, and they totally fucking clown me because I had all the shit written down wrong. Dude, so I've been a humble guy most of my musical life too. So yeah. Like, you know, right out of high school was asked to join March Hare, who you will remember of, JD.
Yes.
Don't remind me.
That was you because you got kicked out, or did you leave?
I left and then came back, and then we kicked you out because we're a bunch of dicks. Yeah. I still feel like the biggest dick. You know what? We should have kept you on. Then I wouldn't have to listen to myself, or I could have spared someone else from just listening to me fucking yawn all the time. Anyway, yeah. Like in tons of bands after that, and I've pretty much been in some sort of musical project ever since.
Yeah. So I had the take a break when your kids are little moment. So I kind of put it aside for about 10 years. I'm always impressed for the people who are able to keep going all the way through, because it's such a time commitment. You know, people don't really understand if you're writing and recording and playing shows and even attempting to tour, it's a serious commitment. It's another marriage that you have to like somehow convince your family is reasonable to have.
Yeah. And you know, if you're a nut like me, I'm a total gear dork. I always have to have new toys, and you can never own enough guitars.
Yep.
So yeah, and you know, gear is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I did kind of my every 5-year purge right at the beginning of this year. I sold a whole bunch of gear, and then of course bought some, replaced it with some new stuff.
Yeah, you gotta burn it to the ground and start it all anew.
Start over.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll talk a little bit about guitar heroes in a few minutes here, but who are some of your heroes from a pure guitar playing standpoint?
Obviously the aforementioned, Eddie Van Halen. I'd heard Van Halen since I can ever remember being played on rock radio, and then finally seeing them on MTV for the video for Jump, and just seeing him play keyboard and switch to guitar and jump around, and they're all, obviously they're all jumping all over the place. It furthered my desire to play guitar, because he looked so cool, and what he was doing was otherworldly,
Yep.
So EVH for sure. Alex Lifeson of Rush, like you, I'm a big Rush fan.
Yep.
Jeff, I think Geddy is the single greatest bass player of all time.
Not gonna get any arguments for me.
I didn't think so.
No, and Carl and I, that's our favorite our tour drive conversation topic, is listen to Rush and talk about particularly how no one appreciates Alex Lifeson enough, and how truly
not at all
he was.
And it's so funny, because I know a ton of Rush songs, and I hate playing them because it won't sound like him. I can't get the nuance that he has. It's like Eddie Van Halen in that way, It just can't be duplicated.
Yeah, it's hard, and a great songwriter, great progressions, interesting note selection, but also a killer solo player. I mean, the solo on Here Again from the first album is one of my all-time favorite guitar solos.
What I love about him and what he does is that he uses so much space, and he, obviously one of the things that's said most about him is that he gets so much out of his guitar, with all of his arpeggios and stuff, and he really fills up that canvas, the musical canvas, with what he's doing, and whether it's effects and just so he can sit back and like put out few notes and really, really say something special. And I think that's what really drew me to him. And, obviously James Hetfield is a huge influence, vocally, like how he phrases his vocals too. But yeah, big influence on guitar. Let's see. Yeah,
that's a good trio.
Yeah.
Oh, Dimebag, of course.
Dimebag.
Yeah,
of course.
Dimebag.
Yeah, of course.
It's funny in whenever somebody like Eddie passes, you start to hear all the stories and be reminded of some of the stories that you knew in the first place. But the story about the Bumblebee, the black and yellow guitar that he buried with Dime.
With Dime, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, originally I guess he had promised to build him a second one. He promised Dime to build him his own copy of that guitar, and he never did it, and so he buried him with the original.
Wow. Crazy.
couldn't have gone to a finer dude.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, I mean, while we're on the topic, this is a good segue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we
segue master.
We lost Eddie this week. I mean, it's a huge blow to the musical world, and not just metal and rock, like the world of music in general.
Yeah, I mean,
he revolutionized like every aspect of guitar playing.
Yeah. I when I was 14, I made a friend at the new high school that I started at. I went to his house, and he had a guitar and an amp, and he played Eruption note for note. Paul Hamilton, if you ever listen to this, you were a wizard. You were a prodigy, and I'm so mad that you stopped playing guitar. I'll never forgive you for not continuing to play guitar. Hopefully, he'll pick it up again someday. But like, he played that for me, and I went, I don't know what that is, but I want to do that with you. And I had already been thinking I wanted to play bass, that I wanted to be Geddy Lee. So I was like, screw it, Mom, I need a bass. And then I just jammed with Paul nonstop, and that was the sort of the beginning of me getting into music.
Did your mom make you get the old man bass first?
No. Luckily, 0 people on Earth think that acoustic bass is cool, except the Violent Femmes. But no, I mean, acoustic bass is the worst. Play stand up if you're gonna play, a non-electric bass, play the real thing. But those
why would you want that much like bulk on? They're so massive. Like, no, not fun.
Yeah. And to sound terrible.
For real. Just
you can't make the chamber big enough to get the resonance you need for those low notes.
Just flat and mushy.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. So on that, why don't we just share what's our all-time favorite Van Halen song?
Favorite Van Halen songs.
It could be Van Halen or Van Hagar. Either one.
Dude, I love them both. I do. But obviously, like, as far as, like the obvious, I think Jump is like the perfect, like, pop hard rock song. It does everything. Like, it has keyboard progressions. It's got super catchy vocals with a whole lot of attitude, and the most succinct yet ripping guitar solo ever.
Yeah. No, it's a good one here. Let's tuck into just a minute or so of it.
Snippet.
I can see the video still.
Oh yeah.
I'm also getting sports arena vibes right now too.
Welcome your San Jose Sharks.
Totally.
I think we found you a side gig, JD.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that song ruled for a decade. You couldn't avoid it anywhere you went.
No, completely.
All right. So I got a pull here, from not that album, but I did not organize this. All right, so the lead-off track from Fair Warning. So we're gonna listen to a little Mean Street. What I love about this song is that, Eddie loved the intro, right? So sprinkled throughout these records are these like indulgent guitar intros, but this is one where it was like really succinct, really tight, but still had all the great elements of his, more indulgent intros. It's got, aggressive use of modulation effects. That phaser is like cranked to 1,000 in sections of the song. It's got a brilliant solo, and it has that vibe that I think my favorite Van Halen songs, they're like soundtrack songs for a dystopian 80s movie with Kurt Russell, right? like this is a song that's playing in the background.
You mean Escape from LA?
Or whatever. Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Like Atomic Punk would be another one of those too.
So I almost picked Atomic Punk, but to me, Mean Street is like the evolution of Atomic Punk. It's like
for real.
They took the ideas in Atomic Punk and then perfected them.
I love this song. It's dirty. It's nasty. It has it all. It has all the Van Halen check marks.
And this.
Ah.
Got the chills. Yeah.
Filthy.
What year did this album come out?
81.
Yeah.
It's like someone wondered out loud, like, how could you take a band like ZZ Top and then bring them into a new decade? Not that ZZ Top didn't dominate the 80s, but it's like that. It's those essential kind of boogie riffs that are like the main riff in that song is nothing new, but everything, all the dressing around it is so perfect.
That's really cool, Jeff. I've never thought of it that way. That it does have a really like modernized. It's like if you took ZZ from the '70s and like time like transported them from like '75, and they had to go like write something that was now. That's kind of what that sounds like.
It's a lot of what it sounds like. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Dude, and I think what I don't know if it probably doesn't get overlooked. Maybe it's not talked about enough. Is that Alex? What a key element Alex Van Halen is to that stew. You know, his drums. I think he has. Like, I'd even go above Bonham as like my favorite drum sound. Just that snare crack that he gets is insane.
Yeah. No,
it's so cool.
He's great. I go back and forth on Michael Anthony. This is probably where I'll get some guff. Fuck, if I have to watch another one of those bass solos that he does.
Yeah, no, dude. Right on board, homie. Right on board.
But
what is it? Is it the 5150 live video where he has the Jack Daniels bass and just comes out wonking? Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Don't.
Or like the quintessential like cynical bass player tattoo of the tablature for fucking
the bass note
running with the devil. don't for like a mile.
Dude. I think that's actually how Dave Mustaine met Dave Ellefson. Is that Ellefson was playing that like on 11 at like 10 in the morning at this apartment in LA, and Dave lived below him, and he drew a lot of ire from Dave for that one, but the rest is history.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love these stories.
All right.
See, mine is
what's yours?
Mine is not deep at all. It just has always been one of those Van Halen songs for me that just every time I hear it brings a smile to my face, and I just can't wait. It's Hot for Teacher.
Oh.
Just that that opening drum sequence was just like, it's just it just gets me going.
Yeah, testing my knowledge of the discography here.
It's on 84.
Yeah.
Those drums.
I just love it. Oh.
You gotta love an indulgent intro.
And in the video, there's like one like 10-year-old boy that's dressed like each of them. They have like the little doppelgangers.
So cool.
What do you think the teacher's gonna look like this year?
I wanted to, I was saying I wanted to post the video on Facebook, but it's like, it's not. That video did not age. The song didn't age. I mean, the music did. But
Yeah, it's a little.
it's all about sexy teachers.
It's uncomfortable.
I think that can be said of a lot of things that came out of the 80s, like
completely.
movies. Totally. Like I thought it'd be a good idea to watch Monster Squad with my 12-year-old son.
No.
And, oh my gosh, dude, it's terrible. Like,
So
you know, at least they didn't drop an N-bomb in it, but there's another one, like, we don't say the other F word in this house, and it's all over. It's like, jeez. And I think, like, Dracula just, like calls a little girl a bitch or whatever. And, like,
Dracula.
I just look over at my son. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
Yep,
I done.
yep. I know. I remember that, too. That was, like, that was when Olive decided she wanted to start watching horror movies. I'm like, okay, let's start with something. Oh, Monster Squad. Yeah, we'll start with Monster Squad.
Yeah, it's perfectly not
Just
innocent.
like, oh, shit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, the honorable mention for me was not even the whole song, but since it's right below Hot for Teacher is Drop Dead Legs. When
Oh my God, dude.
a friend of mine posted on Facebook probably just earlier today, there's a section of that song. Well, I mean, it's got great riffs, but like...
That. Yeah, that is ZZ Top as fuck.
It's so dirty. To walk that super progressive riff into that just dirty, swampy boogie slowed down is just so awesome.
Yep, with no click. No click to be heard of.
No, come on now.
Typically in 1 or 2 takes.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Should we listen to music that people sent us? Or no, sorry, what were we going to say?
I was just going to say, like, one more, like, deep cut. You don't even need to play. I just mentioned for the people. When they released their 1996 greatest hits thing, they had 2 new songs that have David Lee Roth on them, Me Wise Magic and Can't Get the Stuff No More. Those 2 are some of my absolute favorite Van Halen songs ever. They're like, it's like taking Van Halen of the 70s into the modern age, like what we discussed with ZZ Top, but they're actually doing it themselves. It just, the drums, the guitars just sound so killer. And like Dave kind of goes crazy Aunt Linda for a minute on some of the moments with his like, whoa! But those songs, if you got a second, check them out. They absolutely kick ass.
Yeah, I'll have to take a listen to that. I didn't even know those existed. You know, it's like I love Eddie and I enjoy Van Halen, but it's not like a band that I go back to. It's not an old band that I constantly re-listen to the way I do say Rush or King Crimson or you know any of a number of old bands. But I'm always happy every time I hear them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I do this every year, getting closer to like Christmas. I literally go on like a whole Van Halen trip, and I listen to all their stuff, except for Diver Down. I'm not huge into that. And there's a couple of, like the Gary Sharon record is.
Oh man,
I forgot terrible.
about that.
Yeah, keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, I will.
It's terrible.
Which one is that? When was that?
It's
2012.
No, 1998. 2012 was an actual David Lee Roth release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
98. Van Halen 3. Oh,
it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
The only thing that I wish with Eddie and with Van Halen in general is he was such a progressive player, but they always just wrote these ABC pop songs. I would have loved to have seen him get shoved in as the guitar player in a band where they were writing more expansive stuff, right? Writing like a 12-minute fucking epic, metal journey that he just played on. It'd be so fun to hear. I know he guested on a ton of shit.
Oh yeah, I think they could have, really done whatever they want, and that would have been really cool. Though there is a song, it's at the end of Balance, which is a Van Hagar record. It's like the 6-minute closer. For some reason, I can't remember what it's called, and I actually listened to it yesterday. But it's 6.5, and it moves through some progressions, man. And it's
feeling,
yeah. And Sammy's at the top of his lungs, kicking ass. It's a really cool song. It's got a lot of really neat changes and a really cool mid solo section that Eddie just goes all Eddie on it.
Yeah. We should have Trevor Church from Haunt and Beastmaker on, because he's arguing heavily in favor of Van Hagar because of course his dad was the bass player for Montrose and he knows Sammy personally, and argued that Dreams is the greatest Van Halen song ever written. And when you listen to it, man, that's a fucking perfect pop song.
and I'm not going to argue with that dude because Haunt absolutely rips.
Yeah. That dude is so prolific. He comes up constantly. In terms of DIY musicians and heavy music right now, making it happen, he comes up constantly because he just is. He's that dude's awesome. He's on some next level stuff. Yep. Killer. All right, so we about to move into
send us some music.
Send some submissions.
They want us to listen to their tunes.
I can't wait for this.
Yes.
Time to shift gears to not knowing what you're about to hear.
Yes.
From Van Halen, which you seem to have an encyclopedic knowledge of, to the first song, which when the email came in, I laughed out loud. This is in the email, I think he said is a demo of a new project. I don't know who this person is. I don't know who this band is. We just know that the band is called Chicken Witch, which is already amazing. And the song is called The Phallus God.
Ooh. Oh, dude, I'm all over it.
Are we ready for this?
No,
Okay.
I don't think we are, but let's
Okay.
give it a shot.
No.
Foreboding.
Yes. All right, so I'll say those are the kind of death vocals that I can do because I actually understood the first phrase. I think he said, "Gather around the carcass of the stallion."
No, I feel bad for that stallion. Well,
Heady stuff
apparently
right
what he
there,
sent us
man.
is a lyric video too, so we can read the lyrics.
Oh, I wasn't looking.
Dude, I'm all about it. From hearing it there, I'm actually gonna have to take a listen to it on my own. Like, but I would totally keep rocking that. But
Yeah,
you're right about the vocals, though. I am so like not consistently particular about my death metal vocals.
Yeah.
It just either does it or doesn't. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I think I'm exactly the same way, and and I know almost immediately. Like the second I hear it, I go, "All right, I'm going to be able to deal with." Or I never love it, but
No.
sometimes it doesn't detract that enough that I'll keep listening.
I love it when I love it, and when I hate it, I want to burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he said this is just he played guitar and did the vocals, and I think the drums are programmed, which you can hear. I was going to say,
Yeah.
if that's a real drummer, I feel bad for him because he's buried so far in the mix. It's almost like he doesn't exist. But
Well, it sounded like the vocals were just pushed all the way to the top of that register anyway.
yeah, and this is, keep in mind, this is a YouTube video running through my phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it does have programmed drums.
Into Zoom for you. So
This
here,
is
let's
just the demo for a 4-song EP.
let's listen to a little more. I mean, do you really need to hear more than "Almighty Phallus, I worship
No,
thee"?
dude, that pretty much just puts it all down there, doesn't it?
Sealed the deal. So the link will be in the episode description, but just search the Phallus God on YouTube and you'll find it.
It's gonna take you to one place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one place.
Pornhub.
Wow,
Couple
wow.
places.
Not a subtle message there.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think like programmed drums are definitely like, it's hard to escape because, well, especially now, you can't really get in a room and jam with your buddies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise it, but yeah, like even on the Only Ghost record, all those drums are programmed. We can't find people. Drummers are like unicorns, man.
Yeah. No shit.
Unicorns. I know.
Sure.
That's why I'm training my 12-year-old to become one, so that I can put her to work.
Yeah, especially being a bass player, then you can get that tight lockdown.
Always.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
I think we're getting a lot of submissions that are sort of like quarantine COVID solo projects.
Yeah.
With lots of, I played everything on this, or we programmed the drums, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's cool.
Not at all.
It's driving people to be more creative, right?
Yeah. All right, so should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
Keep
this
them coming,
band,
man.
This band is called Notion of Distance.
Which is also a COVID
Yeah.
project,
It's
I believe.
a COVID solo.
The guy that sent us this, I think, is the, if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like he kind of owns a label called Hypotherial Records.
Huh. It lists 4 players, so it's maybe a COVID project, but it's not a solo one. All right, so this is a song called "A Dream," and what I can tell you about it is It is 1 minute and 24 seconds long, so we might get through the whole,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Just listen to the whole thing.
For the first
All right.
time. All right, let's do it.
I trapped, I blew from the throne of the world, and then talk shit so bad, the sun, endless, not much, in its way. I trapped, I blew from the throne of the world.
All right.
Right.
I didn't hate that.
That's a Blynd
I didn't hate it
Submyshynz
either.
first. Getting through an entire song in one
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yeah, I have production nitpicks, but
Yeah.
that snare can go and find
that-
a new snare.
That was on the heavy end of Saint Anger for sure. That
No,
dude,
yeah, I'm into that.
that dude's peaking on vocals though. He's gonna have a blowout here any second now.
Yeah, that's rough. Well, having never even attempted that, that's rough to do unless he's training with one of those vocal trainers that'll teach you how to do that and protect your voice.
He's obviously not doing that. He's at the top end, like just.
I
Yeah.
think this is another one of those where it's like we were talking about the vocals that, you know, it's like there's some of those that you're like on the verge and you're either it's like borderline. You're going to hate it or you're going to not mind it. And I think that was one of those where
I liked it.
I didn't mind it at all. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it had a
Go ahead.
it had a similar quality to like the overall experience at that Converge show that I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But it's just pitched down enough that it's not like absolutely grating the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Converge open for at the Gates here a few years ago, and I've never been a huge fan of their music. I certainly appreciate them. I think they're such an influential band, and Jane Doe makes blood come out of my ears every time I hear it. But just watching him like go for it that whole set, I was like, he's done. He's gonna die. He's gonna go down, and
Yeah,
it's rough.
Before you hopped on, I told a story about seeing them play with Mastodon and High on Fire, and never having heard Converge before, and being a massive fan of Mastodon and High on Fire, and I just heard chicken squeals for 40 minutes, and I did not. I was so confused. We were way back at the back of the arena, so I wasn't getting the like close-up, intense version of the performance. He definitely went for it, but that night it was not for me.
Yeah, I think they're one of those, and like they're kind of the starting of that. They'll go way up high on the fretboard and do that bend thing over like a pedaled riff. That was like Converge started that whole thing, and there was like 8 million bands. Just like it's 20 minutes of like stop, please stop doing that.
Yeah. Well, and I said, you know, when I told the story earlier in the intro, I said, you know, it turns out Ben Keller's maybe one of my favorite drummers on earth, and Mutoid Man is like, they could make 3 albums a year and I would consume all of them happily. So clearly these are all insanely talented people. Kurt Blues, obviously crazy talented, you know, so much amazing shit is coming out of God City, out of his recording studio. It's just that band in particular wasn't made for me.
And that's a weird lineup too. Converge, High on Fire, and Mastodon. One of these things is not like the others for sure.
They all really got along apparently, and as you see, they've kind of continued to work together and hang out in the future. I know those dudes all get along, And so I think sometimes it just works out like that. And, the last Luminiferous, the last High on Fire record was largely tracked at God City with Kurt Blue. At least the drums were tracked at God City. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they, they definitely have a relationship that goes beyond. I'm a wealth of High on Fire knowledge, unfortunately. Being from San Jose and having been in the practice studio where they were practicing both Sleep and High on Fire when they first started, I have deep exposure to the lore of High on Fire.
The lore.
And there is much. I think that last Nails record, You Will Never Be One of Us, was produced by Kurt and recorded at God City, and that thing burns him down, man. That record's heavy.
Oh yeah, Nils. I'll tell you what.
All right, what's next? Tell me what's next.
So this is one that we have been doing where this is not submitted, but what we did was I did a little research on the old Bandcamp, read some articles, and I went back to the albums of the day. So I just decided, okay, I'm going to find an album of the day from Bandcamp, and I picked it based almost solely on the cover. I thought the cover was really cool, so I read a little bit, and it says that this band is called Soul, maybe, or Sault. It's a collection of soul, funk, spoken word, and drill chants focused on honoring the Black experience and all of its beautiful, diverse glory. But behind the beauty was also a militant record full of sorrow, awareness, and fierce indictments of the injustice, specifically in the United States. So, I mean, this sounded interesting, where you get like the soul and the spoken word, and apparently they also released this record on Juneteenth.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, okay, I'm
Well, right off the bat, there's another cover that's floating around with a similar theme that looks kind of a lot like this for the New Zealand Ardor record that's also trickling out song by song that has a very similar theme, but I suspect is going to sound quite different. So let's check it out.
Yeah,
so,
I would.
Free?
Yeah.
All right. The song is called Free. And actually, I'm going to play it on the proper device because I'm paying attention here. Switched over from running the music through my phone from my computer. So, all right, here we go.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm all over that.
That's so good.
That's fantastic.
Dude, that double LP set is really cool too. That's a really cool package, man.
Yeah, just all jet black. Yeah, that's the fun thing about flipping around on Bandcamp is we can look at everybody's cool merch.
Yeah, dude, that was way cool. That reminds me a lot of a woman named Esperanza Spalding. She's the Spalding.
Good lord.
Dude, she's so cool, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
I went down, after I discovered her, I went down a deep, deep rabbit hole, and that might be one of the most talented musicians on the planet right now.
Yeah, and like with her, some of her music, it's, obviously there's like her, I can't remember if she's Cuban. There's there's some Latin origin there too, but there's a lot of that in there, and obviously the very Afrocentric stuff, and some of that obviously isn't for me, but and I recognize that, but it's just so cool to listen to. And she goes everywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like who's the guy who's the jazz bass player who's all over the place now singing and playing bass? Thundercat. Yeah. She's kind of she's like next level Thundercat.
Thundercat? I've not heard of Thundercat.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, JD, listen to Thundercat.
Yeah.
Tiny desk rabbit hole for you. Look up
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude.
Esperanza, Spalding, and Thundercat.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. He's so cool.
Yeah, I'm super into this. This is really. Where are they from?
It's all in pounds, so I
it's
assume
probably the UK.
they're in the UK somewhere.
UK.
Let's see. Yeah, it just says UK.
Yeah. I wonder if it is Soul or
Released September 18th, 2020. Interesting.
Got a 5 minute song. Why don't you skip forward a couple minutes and let's
Oh, yeah. Let's hear a little bit
hear
more.
some more.
I know you ain't come this far just to go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that is.
Oh,
That's good.
I got
I could
chills
just-
on that. That was so cool.
Yeah, I could just stop. We could just stop and listen to the rest of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seriously.
that's
I'll
so
be behind
good,
that
man. I'm definitely gonna keep. I'm gonna keep listening to that.
Yeah, that'll be the packing up the studio music.
All right. Well, we're gonna. You know where we're going?
Where are we going?
I think it's time to visit
Where
the
are we
merch
going?
table.
the merch table.
Oh shoot!
So, yeah,
I'm gonna crack a beer first.
Oh, look at you.
I got this one in honor of you, Matt.
I'm split up. I only have the small screen. Like I can't go back.
Oh yeah, that's
here,
right.
let me stop the share. There, then
We
you'll be
got
able to
the,
see it.
I can't see it. Oh, it's the Deftones. Yeah,
It's
not the
new White
Deftones,
Pony
it's-
beer.
it's Deftones.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It's the White Pony. I think it's a new one.
Is it an IPA?
Oh yeah. Yep. White Pony.
Yeah, the
Double
Phantom.
Dry Hop.
I've only had the Phantom Bride. That one was really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it Belching Beaver still, or is it somebody else?
It's still Belching
Still
Beaver, yeah.
Belching Beaver. They make a good beer.
Apparently they've done a ton of beers, but they don't release them all. They don't put them all in cans.
They don't can them all.
But they've done multiple Deftones beers. The reason I was, kind of, I think I commented on one of your posts, Matt, but like back in the day when I was still in the band, I remember we were at band practice, and it was after there was a Bad Brain show in Salt Lake at this club called Deviate, and Deftones opened for the Bad Brains. This is probably like 95, 94 maybe. I mean, it was before the first full length came out. And
It was 95.
Was it 95? We finished band practice, went upstairs. Matt whips out this Cassingle. Remember Cassingles? That it had two songs on it, one on each side like they do. And he's like, "You gotta fucking hear these guys. They opened for Bad Brains last night, and I'm blown away." We put that on, and I was blown away. I mean, it was downhill from there. Like it was. I've been a fan, and this new one, man. This new one is good.
Yeah, after I heard that, every riff, Matt's ripping off Deftones, everything. There's even a song, there's a song on the Villain Wreck, the new Villain EP, called Scurved. That is basically, I listened to Adrenaline and went up and grabbed my guitar and wrote that song in like 10 minutes. And it's a straight up Adrenaline style Deftones rig for sure.
And I'm assuming that song was actually named for Scurv, right? Who
Absolutely.
passed away last year?
Couple years ago, yeah. It was written. I wrote that before he had passed, but it was like within weeks of each other. And Trent and I were talking at practice, and he was like, we got to call this song "Scurv," and no arguments here. So
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Matt, do you have anything to share from the merch table this week?
To answer back, I'm drinking this fine Rogue Coastal Haze, Coast Haste. Pardon me.
Coast Haste.
Yeah, even through our fine. Not so fine liquor store, I can still find good beer.
Well, that's good.
Can
Salt
you
Lake has a
refrigerate
ton.
it yet?
No, come on now.
Oh man.
We're the We're in the goddamn Stone Age, JD.
Yeah.
So
Still.
Utah, you so
at
crazy.
At least I don't have to drive over the border to get 5% beer, which is ridiculous.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a few things I want to show you. This one in particular, this is a band called Eldon. They're from Sweden. It's a great EP, not EP, LP. It's called Nostromo. Definite Mastodon vibes for sure. But there's also like some cool thrashy stuff going on too, and even some kind of like post-American hardcore. Like there's some, I don't know if you're familiar with Only Living Witness, but there's definitely some Only Living Witness moments on that record. It's I actually borrowed this from Sean, who is my bandmate in Holy Ghosts, and he's let me hang on to it for a minute, but it's so kick-ass, man. I highly recommend it. Just I know they're on Bandcamp and Spotify, but yeah, Eldon.
I'm looking at it right now. No,
they rip
up my alley. They sing in English, or they?
Yeah, they sing in English.
Sing in English. Not that that's a deal breaker, because that Vellertac record's like my favorite.
Oh
record
my god, dude!
of the year,
Didn't you just get that a little bit ago, JD?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, I was really kind of afraid about the new singer and all, but
he
nope,
rips.
no need. Absolutely.
That album's so good.
Yeah, I definitely got to get a hold of it. The one before it, just that song 1985. Oh my god, dude.
That song and what Bratabran on the new album. You have to have some serious frontman swagger to say air guitar, come on, right before the solo, and he fucking nails it.
I was at my desk at work and seriously busted out laughing, and you know we're kind of spaced out at my work anyway, but everybody's like, what? It's just Jones, whatever. Another cool thing I got is this Crowbar Equilibrium repress. I take the records out, but that's a pain in the ass. But it's a really cool splatter, and it's a great record.
That's a great
one of my
record.
favorites.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It's awesome. Let's see what else I got. One more record here, I think. Which I actually haven't listened to, but I'm going to put it on right after we're done recording. Skeletal Remains. Jeff, I don't know if this is going to be up your alley, but the vocals are. He does a thing where you can kind of follow along the vocals, but it's kind of some old school. It's some old school death metal.
Yeah, I might. I'm actually getting more extreme as I get older, getting more interested in more extreme music, especially after, we have a really cool kind of crust and grind scene in the Bay Area, and have some friends and killer bands that I just have been listening to, and they're fucking awesome. So then I just go down the rabbit hole and start listening to it. Like I love it live, but listening to Brain Oil or Deathgrave or any of those bands recorded now, I'm starting to kind of it's starting to seep in.
You said on the first episode with Susie, which I absolutely loved. That was awesome. But Jeff, you said that you were talking about Imperial Triumphant's new record.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's a couple of moments where they lose me on that, like some of the kind of like little like jazz drum things that they do. But it's like you said, it's supposed to be like the soundtrack with how New York sounds to them. And when you said that, the record started making even more sense to me.
It does.
Yeah.
And when you just flip that cover open and zone out on it, or start inspecting sections of it while you're listening to it, that cover is fucking brilliant, man. The artwork is amazing.
I haven't seen it yet. I need to go to Graywell is a local record store here. I need to go to Graywell and pick it up. But yeah,
I'm so glad they're still around. That's such a
I know. Well, there used to be one. I live in Sandy, Utah, which is a southern. It's south of Salt Lake, but they used to have one in my neighborhood, and obviously the pandemic shut her down. My final thing is this, and it's not new, but this book, I got it for Christmas, but I've literally been milking it since then. I'm still not done with it just because I'm taking everything in, and there's all like the sidebars and the side notes. It's a visual and oral history about Metallica's Master of Puppets.
Oh, wow.
And it talks about the death of Cliff, and just for a super dork of that record, that I am, it's my favorite record of all time. I think it's the greatest metal record ever written. Just to be able to go down that rabbit hole is super fucking cool to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know that
existed.
It's a little
spendy, but worth every goddamn penny.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I definitely think that's my favorite Metallica record and one of my all-time favorites.
Which one?
Master of Puppets.
Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to be contrarian when I was younger and say, no, Ride the Lightning's better. And Ride the Lightning has some brilliant moments, and there's a couple songs that I absolutely love, but when you take the record in its entirety, I got to go with Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
I just love For Whom the Bell Tolls. I mean, come on, you're gonna write
come on.
a Hemingway story. I mean,
And
dorks.
that bass intro, dude.
Oh, it's so good. All right,
Yeah.
I'll go next. So just go in, and this includes a gift for JD since we
I like these.
Since we buy records for each other. This is the record from Gargoyle.
Oh man, Dave
All right.
Davidson.
Dave Davidson of Revocation, who
Yes.
is that Revocation album was it 2018, the last one, the Outer Ones.
Outer
Oh,
Ones,
man,
so good.
it's a great record. And then
So good.
This is with the vocalist from a band called Ayahuasca, and it has just insane, just hardcore 90s vibes. I mean, this is like where grunge meets, well, I don't know, post-metal meets a bunch of other stuff. I heard everything from the Toadies to, a lot, proggier stuff. It's really good. I'm gonna play a little chunk, but we got JD's copy.
Aw,
so
thank
he
you.
can have a copy. It's a really nice record, and of course I had to get a T-shirt while I was at it. It's the beauty of Bandcamp, is you can sell me your records and you can sell me your shirts at the same time. I always love a quick shipper. They shipped it out fast.
Yeah, I've actually been eyeballing that Gargoyle record. I need to pick it up. I've heard a few songs and absolutely love it.
Yeah, we listened because it's out now. We listened to the whole thing on Friday night, I think. Here, I'll play a little. For those of you who haven't listened to it yet, especially if you are familiar with Dave Davidson and Revocation, this is a hard left turn.
Yes. I love how the vocals weave in unexpected ways through their songs. And I hate to be derivative, and I mean this as the highest compliment, but it's definitely like an Alice in Chains meets Voivod sort of vocal approach. And that, I know Dave is big into Voivod, and you can really hear that influence on the Gargoyle stuff.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, the Alice in Chains one comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of an easy comparison because
For sure.
But it's so apt. And I wonder, like, no one can talk to Lane anymore, but like, was the singing parallel fifths a choice, or was that like the only harmony he could consistently hit in the studio? And so it was like, all right, I guess we're doing this one again.
And then think about how many people are aping that. I know I do. Like Sean and I from Holy Ghost, there's stuff that we've written and started working on. Like we're just like doing demos for that. Just did it to death, There's like that fifth harmony, and who does it sound like?
Yeah, sounds like Lane. Yeah. Well, and it doesn't hurt that his voice actually has kind of the timbre, the tone, a similar tone, and it's in the right range too.
Yeah, he's got that kind of wiry thing.
I joked like it must be so fun for Dave to play such easy music compared to Revocation.
Dude, have you ever seen him play jazz? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's rad. Have you ever watched 2 Minutes to Late Night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen the episode? He's guested on a few episodes.
Yeah, he did the what was it? The Tornado of Souls one. I actually just watched that this morning.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh,
I love all the 2 minute stuff. I think the last one they did with Bill Kelleher and Claudio from Coheed, and they cover Anthem by Rush. And
oh, it was great.
That's not easy. That is not easy material to tread, and they pulled it off.
Yeah. Another really good version of that song I think Tony published is Moz Generator. Tony Reed did a cover of Anthem that's fantastic.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. Tony's a wizard, so anything he does is usually great.
Yeah. All right. So my turn?
It's your turn.
It's your turn,
I got a couple. So I picked up this album from
Oh, look at you.
Anjamel, I think is how you pronounce it.
Anjamel.
And this was one of the finds, one of our Bandcamp article finds.
We listened to that with Jake from Chrome Ghost, right? Yeah,
exactly.
That was the second episode.
Exactly. And then the new Idols came out, and this album is incredible. It is so good. And it's funny too, because on the inside of the actually I gotta show this vinyl.
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Whoa.
And then you flip it. Oh,
dude, that's cool as shit.
Yeah, there's like this. It's kind of funny because on the inside cover, it's got like this letter that they wrote to their fans that basically said, "I know what you're expecting us to do, and we're not going to do it. So if you don't like it, then basically, there are plenty of other people that will."
Yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's rad.
And then I picked up a new Quicksand shirt. You can never have enough Quicksand shirts in my drawer. This is the 20th anniversary of the Revelation 8 release of that LP that they did. That first, I think it was called the Omission LP. So it was the 20th anniversary, so they re-released that and a bunch of merch, of course. So I had to pick that up.
Of course. Yeah, that was actually one of the most memorable evenings for me was when we did the what's his other band?
Dead Heavens.
Dead Heavens. We booked and promoted the Dead Heavens show, and they rolled in, and the first thing Walter did is like changed into his running gear and went and ran like 5 miles in downtown San Jose.
And went for a jog.
But
looking like a 70s tennis star.
Like Bjorn Borg.
It was wearing like Rod Laver shoes or something.
Did he have his like modern flow that he's got going on right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But that's so funny because you see so many, Quicksand comes to town and they sell out a 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 person venue, but then they tour. Dead Heavens was Walter and Drew from Into Another, and then one of the guys was one of the founders of White Zombie, and then a guy from another like indie band, and so it was like all these guys from these bigger bands, and they form a band, and you have trouble getting 10 people to show up.
It's like, come on, people, they're going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly, and they were.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we're done.
That's the merch table.
Merch is sold out.
God, it's all gone now.
Yep, it's all gone.
This show is going to bankrupt me. I'm a heavy podcast listener, and one of my all-time favorites is the Doughboys, which is just these two like comedy writers who review chain restaurants, like shitty chain food, with a guest, and they always complain that their show is going to actually kill them. In this case, the show's only going to bankrupt me.
I know, like mounting credit card debt. Like if I see like a release that comes out, it instantly like PayPal and that thing, and that goes to my, our credit card, and I'm like, my wife's like, "Did you buy something again?" I'm like, maybe. Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I bought all the records. Damn it. All of them.
Awesome.
So let's moving on to the next section.
Section.
So let's listen to some more music.
Let me pull them up on Bandcamp and share the screen so that we can get a look at their.
So this is another one of those. I believe this is another sort of COVID project that somebody's doing, kind of by themselves. The Conjured. His name is Michael. I guess he works with another band called Rail Rage, which is currently on hiatus. So he's focusing on the Conjured right now, but it sounds like it is just one guy, and this is, I believe, somewhat of a demo.
The Conjured Death March.
What is that?
And that's the beauty of Bandcamp, man. So Francis Roberts, who wrote and recorded the theme music for the podcast, one Sunday morning I woke up at like 9:30 and I popped onto Facebook and he was live streaming, writing a collaborative project, getting parts from other people in other parts of the country, editing, mixing, mastering, creating the album artwork, and posting on Bandcamp in one streaming session over the
Holy cow, dude.
over the course of like 2 hours.
Crazy.
It was insane. I mean, can you think the first band you were in, the first time you ever recorded, can you imagine a world where you could wake up one morning, write a song, and post it to a major music publishing platform that day with art?
No.
It's insanity. That's so
Absolutely
cool.
not.
Yeah, completely.
So Bandcamp,
So cool.
when you do eventually become a sponsor of this podcast, you can just go back. You can go back and find all of these mentions.
So
all right.
Conjured started in Petaluma.
Petaluma.
I'm interested because the cover of this, for the people that are watching on YouTube will see, but those of you that are listening, it's not the typical. It is an upside down star, but it's not a regular star.
It's too many points.
It's a 7-pointed star.
Yeah.
So
and we have like a Terminator Robo Goat, maybe.
Yeah, Robo Goat. That was perfect. I mean, yeah, I was thinking it was.
That's the name of my next death metal project. It's going to be Robo Goat.
There you go. You can have it.
And I think he wants us to listen to First of the Abyss.
First of the Abyss.
So let's give this a listen.
If you can say a song title like that with a straight face, I think you got it figured out.
Yeah.
Like you're naming your songs right. Death March, Wail of the Living Dead, and then the last one. I'm gonna catch a little heat for this, but Dreamcatcher. I don't know about.
Yeah, that's the ballad.
Yeah, it probably is the ballad.
See,
now I'm gonna have to listen to a little bit of it
music
for sure.
By Michael Jolly. Yeah.
All right, so First of the Abyss.
Some primitive sounding stuff.
Yeah. It was really hard to hear. I couldn't really hear all the parts, so I couldn't really tell. And that intro was really long.
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot going on. I want to. There's sometimes you hear a song and you're like, God, I just want to hear this really well produced.
Yeah, or is it a choice?
Maybe it is.
In some genres, this is like the aim.
Because I feel like I could really like this.
That was like the Marshall on GarageBand that he just dragged down and got that sound.
Yeah, I don't know what any of that was or how intentional it was. If you listen back, Death March, tell us about yourself. How is this a demo, or is the production exactly what you wanted? It reminds me of like was the movie about mayhem. Well, obviously, Till the Light Finds Us is the documentary, but in the actual Hollywood movie with Rory Culkin, this sounds like a song that they would have popped in a tape deck.
I haven't seen that yet. Is it any good?
It's so the purists hate it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I don't know that much about the story. I mean, I watched the documentary, so I know that much about it. I don't have an opinion either way. I don't really care. I thought it was an entertaining movie. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. So
I had the book and I was reading that book and I literally got about 3/4 of the way and I know I'm gonna catch heat if there's like black metal OGs. Dude, I had to put it down. Varg is the dumbest fucking bastard. I couldn't even read it anymore. I'm like, this guy's such a try-hard edgelord douchebag. Just
and his entire life since then has only reinforced that.
Yeah, and dude, he is dumb as a bag of hammers. That dude is so dumb. I got so sick of reading about how stupid he is. It just Anyway.
Yeah, anyway. I didn't make it through the book either. I borrowed it from a guy at work, and I think I made it 2/3 of the way through, and then I'm like, I can't.
So watch the movie. You'll enjoy it then.
I will. And I've seen the other documentary that kind of features Fenriz, throughout, which is rad.
Yeah.
But he's you can tell he's kind of going for like maybe kind of a Dark Throne thing on this Death March thing. But I don't know.
Yeah. I'm curious to know how, because songs like this aren't usually 6.5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Let's skip forward a couple minutes, maybe get to the middle and give it another listen. Those cymbals are mic'd just a little.
If they're actual cymbals.
I can't. Yeah, exactly. I once again I feel I could like this. It's hard to listen to because, like I said, I can't hear it, especially in that last part.
Yeah.
Like that cymbal was just. I thought there was fuzz because I just heard.
Yeah, I was just washing everything out.
But I feel like there's hope. And like you said, maybe this is the sound that it's going for.
If you want to sound like a Mayhem demo from, and frankly, a lot of black metal bands do to my ear, even the well-produced stuff.
That's why I'm a black metal poser.
Yeah, totally.
I like Dimmu Borgir. Okay, give me the production.
I will cop to owning that one really popular album. Apocalypse, whatever.
The Death Cult. Armageddon.
Yeah, that one.
That and Puritanical whatever something Mushmouth. The one before that.
Puritanical Mushmouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Those two records are I love them, man. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, and they get into weird like operatic, symphonic territory even on some of that stuff.
Yeah, there's like the Abracadabra one or whatever. He's got like the headdresses on from like Star Wars episode whatever. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I do love the like commitment of the black metal musicians.
Yes.
So I went to a show with the show that I saw, Imperial Triumphant. It was Iwata, Imperial Triumphant, and I forget the third band, and all three. Imperial Triumphant wore costumes, and I didn't know what the guys looked like, so I didn't know who they were for the rest of the show. But in the other two bands, those dudes are in character from second one all the way through to the finish of the set. If you're not in a good venue, playing blast beats at volume on a kit it's not mic'd is impossible. So you end up with this situation where either the guitars have to turn way down, or the guitars blow everything else out and you can't hear the drums at all. It's a really hard style to pull off live in a DIY setting.
Yeah, it just turns into Echo City, Yeah, it's terrible.
You rely on the house, and so I'm so like up and down with it. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I just can't even believe it's a genre that exists.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever.
You're probably never be a black metal guy.
JD, I'm probably like right there with you, and I there's a ton of bands that I really want to like because I think like some of their aesthetic is cool and their album artwork is unbelievable, but I can't do it, man. It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you for sure. It's one day. No.
Well, no, I mean, you can enjoy its influence on the world because listening to bands like Zealand Ardor, Deaf Heaven, or
completely, where it's you have elements of it is not
that's a divisive band right there.
Which one, Deaf Heaven?
Deaf Heaven.
Oh yeah,
dude, I absolutely love them, and I love that like Carrie and George, the singer and guitarist, just are like kind of like the two most non-metal looking dudes on the planet.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're so cool. Like they're just mellow. They're nice boys.
Yeah, I've never met them, but I met the current bass player who hasn't been their bass player the whole time, Chris Johnson, who's also in a band called Summoner and records tons of engineers and produces and does live audio for tons of bands.
He's the dude that plays the Dunnable guitar, the Dunnable bass, right?
The Dunnable bass, yeah. He's a Boston
that guy's
guy.
Rad. Yeah,
and
he's
he
way
also,
good.
other than having slightly long hair, is like not metal at all. He's just a rad dude. I think they met him because he was doing live sound for them at some point, and then he just kind of ended up in the band.
That's a good get. I can't wait till I can see them again. They're a great live band. I absolutely love them. Another like black metal influenced band that I absolutely love is Holy Fawn. I don't know if you guys, if they're on your radar.
Yeah,
dude, kind of post rock vibes, but definitely dark. I think the last album was called Death Spells. You should find it on Bandcamp. I bought it from them on Bandcamp. An absolute stunner from front to back, man.
Holy Fawn. All right.
Holy Fawn. All right. Something to look up.
Note. All right. So this next one, I didn't have a song title.
The song title is, I thought that was Victoria Junium.
That's the name of the record. Oh. So go ahead and pick a song. Pick a song. Any song.
You know what? Which is A Mother's Love, the one that they put up as their
that's
landing song?
You land
then
on
let's do
track
that.
one. All right.
Let's do that.
So this is a band called Victoria Junium.
I think. That's the album.
Oh.
The band is Ancress.
Ancress? Yeah.
Ancress.
Since I'm sharing my screen, I might as well.
And this is one that was sent to us. I guess I'm thinking it's the guy that runs the label, Hypaethral Records. So they told us to just pick something from their label off of Bandcamp. So I picked one that I love the
that's dope
cover.
As hell.
Yeah,
holy shit,
cool. That's like super cool. So that's why I picked this. So we're about to hear
A Mother's Love.
Yeah, A Mother's Love.
I like that.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. I will say it's been really interesting doing this. I've never paid attention to the clock on a song so much.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's natural or if it's intentional, but so many songs take a turn at almost exactly the 1 minute mark.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just like a human boredom thing, kind of a tendency we all have in writing songs that we don't even know about. But it was like literally at the 1 minute mark, this one, but then also that soul song that we listened to, literally 1 minute exactly flipped into the different part of the verse, and it's over and over.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Where are these guys from?
I like that. What did you think, Matty?
I'm into it. Yeah, Matt.
I liked that there was some of the. It almost sounds like there's two vocalists on it.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
So like the second one that overlapped, he didn't sound as committed as the first dude.
Yeah, he was kind of back and forth between like a talky and a screamy, pushing the brake a little bit.
Their artwork is really cool.
Yeah,
it's really like
awesome,
primordial kind of. I don't know, Lovecraftian, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like some sort of a Cthulhu, like
what's a plague doctor?
There's a plague, like a Cthulhu plague doctor thing. I mean, they're legit enough. They have vinyl out, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that has been one awesome change is that you, even as a DIY band, you can put out between 100 and 300 records pretty reasonably and expect to recoup your money and even make a little bit of money off the vinyl, even if you fund it yourself, as long as you have the money to front, or even, run a pre-sale or a Kickstarter or something like that. If you have a following of any sort, you can totally pull it off. It's a pain in the ass. Submitting vinyl orders is a pain.
I think being in a band today, and I think you covered this a little bit on, again, the first episode, is like being in a band anymore is a labor of love because it's all give and no take. And if you really want to do it, it's like, it was also made mention that, you've got to learn how to run your recording software and mic shit up and do all that stuff. And I certainly need to get way better at that because I've always had someone else there to do it for me. But you really need to take the initiative and figure it out. And kind of, you have to be, sorry, Jeff, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Yeah. Artwork, layout, graphic design, PR, networking, booking shows, figuring out how to rent a fucking tour van if you don't have one. Like it is a small business that you start with. Hopefully people you get along with.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And usually the bass player is the manager.
I'm not gonna. I will not say, but I will say in many, many cases, the bass player is the one behind the scenes doing most of the work.
So many times, the bass player is the most responsible person in the band.
Give the bass player the credit they deserve, for Christ's sake.
Well, it's because we don't contribute very much to the music.
It's not true.
This one, and then the last song, and then even one of the earlier songs that did kind of get me thinking about intros and kind of what's your tolerance for a long intro. As a band who put their last record out that starts with like a minute and 30 seconds of sympathetic resonance on an acoustic guitar running through a high watt or a Laney, I listen to my own bullshit, but I'm trying to figure out what it is that makes me keep listening to other people's bullshit, and that has to just sound right.
I am almost vehemently opposed to the long intro, and it works. It works for me about 2 out of 10 times, and especially if it's like the first time hearing something, like my patience is so. My bandwidth is so low that I want immediate ass kicking straight out the gate.
Yeah.
That's typically what I want. But you know what? That's the thing though, is that when it works so well. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I like being in Villain, like I think every one of our EPs starts out with some sort of fucking intro track.
Yeah.
So
You have to when you're in a hardcore band. That's how it works.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to get some talking and some samples.
Yeah,
This is a story of it. No.
Yeah, I mean, with Kook, it's like we're kind of writing these long epic journeys, but I recognize that not everyone who trips over us is like aware of that, gives a shit, and just wants to get right into it. And that's actually one of the really cool things about Bandcamp, is you can select what track they land on when they hit your page. So like an album listener is going to go to our page, and if they want to hear the whole record, they're going to start from the beginning and get that minute of weird noise. But I can set it so that when you land on our page, the first song that plays is just, the short banger that gets right to it, or whatever, or rotate them around to see what hits. And we do that. They give you the analytics so that you can watch and see per song how long the average listen is. So
I think though, speaking to Kook though, and in other bands, like you guys, like you're on that Doom thing, right? And I think when you're checking out bands like that, you damn well better expect some of that sort of vibe, because it's a slow journey. Like a Yob song isn't, instantly gratifying. You've got to really dig in, and that's obviously what makes it special. So I think if you're going for pop music, I just start right off. If I'm going to death metal, I don't want like a 4-minute keyboard intro. Just give me start grinding up corpses, okay? Immediately.
Yeah, and we talk about that. It's like the context, the listener's context matters. So if someone's on Bandcamp digging through someone's collection, so they have the context of who that person is and what the other music in their collection is, and they hit my record, I fully expect them to understand and maybe be patient when they see not multiple 9-minute songs. But then if Bandcamp throws stuff into lists, it suggests things, there are other ways or if they're on Spotify or somewhere else, you think about like someone might really like your music but might skip through it because that 1 minute experience where there was an actual song playing, there was just some feedback or some noise. That's something we think about a lot. And luckily the digital tools at least, make it so that you can play around with a little bit, engineer the experience as people land on your page.
Well, I think intros need to tell the listener that they're going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It can't just be like a repeated pattern for a minute. Like you need a build.
Yeah.
You need to get somewhere on this journey. And if I feel like it's going to pay off in like a minute and a half, then I keep listening.
Well, that was cool. Let's listen to a little bit more. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. Yeah, is it coming back?
I don't.
What's your guess? Oh, there we go.
I would have listened to this,
I'd keep listening.
Years ago. I would keep listening. I'll check out the rest of the album. This song, there was something about it. There was this band called Mind Over Matter back in the day that was kind of I don't know. I mean, they were like I don't want to say avant-garde, but they were kind of this noisecore band, and it was sort of like just like kind of messy, but like it had this like it wasn't messy to the point of getting away from you, which a lot of bands let happen, and it reminds me a lot of the sort of Mind Over Matter, but harder.
Yeah, so if I was reading the comment, the one supporter comment, this is interesting. My kind of music, repeated listens, a must on this stunning record, which I would probably agree with, so that you can catch everything. Grind, sludge, and metal that intertwine into a monster album. Favorite track, Force Fed. So that was their favorite track, so let's check.
1 minute and 29 seconds.
29 seconds, so let's check it out.
And that was like perfect description because it started off as like this grind, and then
Yeah,
it
it's
kind of
hella
turned into like
grindy.
this sludgy.
Yeah. It was cool that break in the middle of the last song. We were waiting to see if it was going to come back or not.
Yeah.
Those can be really useful because you build tension, but when you come out of it, you got to bring it, man. The riff that sucks you out of that tension build has got to fucking pay off.
Yeah. Completely.
I love when bands come out of like a blast section or whatever, and they really lay into the ride bell or just the ride cymbal, and you can hear that, like that slow, kind of broken down thrash riff. It will get me every time. I'm such a sucker for it.
Yeah,
I really that track was really cool.
That was totally
was cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to
So this is the
final
This is
song.
the final song. This is another one that we found. I was reading an article on Bandcamp that was recommended Japanese artists from Boris. So Boris put together this list of sort of fellow Japanese artists that maybe not a lot of people have ever heard of, and some of their favorites. And so this group is called Storm of the Void. It looks like they're probably a two-piece.
Storm of Void.
And the song is called Ripping Every Pages, which that's an interesting... Ripping Every Pages?
Well, I want to hear the first title of your Japanese
language
I know. Song.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and it's not even Storm of the Void. It's just Storm of Void.
Storm of Void.
So I actually got that wrong.
A Misfits t-shirt and a Minecraft.
And a Minecraft.
This is the band. No, that's not the band. Oh, there's the band. Okay. Misfits and Minecraft.
All right, so Ripping Every Pages. That's
Ripping
where we're
Every
at.
Pages.
All right, here we are.
Go.
So I guess it's
Mostly instrumental. It says there's vocals on Unsung.
which is a helmet cover.
Again, that snare is popping all over the place, and that's mostly what I can hear.
Yeah, I'm super into this.
Yeah, I think it's
really
cool.
like it, but that guitar needs to come up and those drums need to go down.
Well, and you know my feelings on a two-piece
Yeah.
that completely ignores a very important set of frequencies
Yeah.
that are pleasing to the human ear.
I was going to bring that up a few minutes ago. We were talking about like how you said that you didn't have bass players not a whole lot of importance in the writing thing. I'm like, but dude, and I was going to bring up the 2-man band thing. I'm like, it drives me crazy. Like, it's the White Stripes thing. Like, put a fucking bass player in your band.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the ones I listen to are drum and bass.
Yeah,
Drum and
isn't
bass,
that? And it totally slips my mind.
Like
What
Big Business.
Bell Witch?
Yeah, Bell Witch, Year of the Cobra, Big Business.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's hard to. It's like if you produce it right, the toms and the kick fill in some of the frequency range. Like, you almost could fool yourself into thinking the kick was hitting a bass note in that song. Because I was listening for it. But it's just not this. It's just not the same. I don't know if that was a baritone or not. The guitar sounded pretty low.
Yeah.
But that might have something to do with.
I am though super into it. Like, I think that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out more of it because it's really interesting to me.
Yeah, and they have a few records on here, like no merch, no, just music.
Well, it's because they don't have the guy in their band that's going to do that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's only two of them.
There's only two of them.
Hey, I get the practicality of being in a two-piece right now, though. I mean, just in terms of, especially if you're a touring band, just getting around.
Oh, yeah.
Cost of touring, the amount of equipment, the kind of vehicle you can operate in. It's funny that all of those things are considerations, but they are.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, but the guitarist can't borrow a bass and record some root note stuff to fill in that frequency thing. Come on, man.
That's almost more insulting to me, though. It is, especially if you're not going to do it live. I almost feel like, if that's all you're going to do, don't bother. But
that's the thing, though, too. Like, in listening to that song, there's ample room for bass
I had bass lines running through my head. They were running counter to the guitar parts for sure, and like filling the gaps between the drums and the guitars.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to play a little bit of the new Zealand Ardor song, and I think this is a really interesting counterpoint to what's the name of the last band that we listened to?
Storm of Void.
Storm of Void.
From the first.
Oh yeah.
From the first.
Oh yeah.
The Soul
that
band.
was the Soul band. That was Sault or Soul.
Salt.
And I got to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge about Zealand Ardor. I've listened to them and I know kind of what they're about. I haven't gone down that road yet.
Oh, please do. Yes. Please do. And if you ever get a chance to see them live.
Oh, incredible live.
Please do. So the new one is Trust No One.
Well, when did this one come out?
Just the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so this is an EP that was recorded during the shelter in place. Short history is that the main guy Manuel was in another band and was doing an AMA on Reddit and asking about what he should do for his next project, and some edgelord suggested that he should mix together, derogatory term for him, music and black metal, and he went, maybe I will.
So he watch this.
He created like an alternate universe where the freed slaves in America followed Satan instead of the Christian God.
They became Satanists instead of Baptists.
Instead of Baptists, they became Satanists, and the music is field calls, like slave chants and field calls and black metal mixed together, and other stuff too. Yeah, and so
you had me at all of that. All of that. Yeah. Fuck yes.
Yeah, so here we go.
Dude,
they're so good. So good.
Dude.
There you go.
It do me there at the end. That's
Dude. Dude, context is very important.
Right?
Like, if I didn't have that brief history lesson, I wouldn't have listened to it with the same set of ears.
Yep.
And it makes way more sense now. And then, like, after you told me that and you pull up the album cover, it's 2 police batons.
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah.
like, Wake of a Nation. Oh my gosh, man, that was.
I know, right? It's like
Yeah.
chills.
Yeah, that was so fucking good, man. Absolutely amazing.
So now maybe you'll listen to that discography before you put that death metal record on this afternoon, huh?
Absolutely, dude.
Both records are amazing. What's come out from the EP is amazing. The second record is called Stranger Fruit, as sort of a nod to the Strange Fruit, obviously.
Yes.
And it's great stuff. And I was a religious studies minor in college. I'm fascinated. I was never a religious person, wasn't raised in a religious household at all. And am sort of a-religious at this point, but fascinated by religion. But it always does fascinate me in world history. Why the enslaved, take the customs of their captors, right? Why was Christianity accepted by black slaves? And in the context of our history, what does that mean? And it's so fascinating for me to flip that on its head and say, what if they'd rejected it instead and gone down a different path?
Yeah.
I love it. The mythology of it is so cool.
Yeah, I too was not raised in a religious household. Both of my parents went through the process in the 80s of having their names taken out of the LDS Church. So I've kind of always grown up being more or less opposed to religion. And my wife is a former member as well, who's had her records taken out. So it's fascinating, the dogma, but that, dude, seriously, my mind was kind of blown on so many levels, knowing, what you told me, and then matching that to the music, and that was just such a kind of a head fuck experience for me in the best way. Yeah, it was very cool.
Context matters.
Yeah.
Context matters.
And the guy's such a brilliant songwriter that there's a song on the second record that could come on the radio after a shitty Imagine Dragons song.
Easy. Is that Row?
And the people no, not Row.
No, it's not Row.
People who like Imagine Dragons would listen to it and go, that song's cool.
Oh, easy.
And then they would go and listen to the rest of the album and go, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Oh, here it is. I'll just play a little bit of it.
Well, wait, one thing, Jeff, saying there's a shitty Imagine Dragons songs implies there might be a good one.
Yeah. I just don't want anyone to ever forget.
Dude, really, a side note, obviously know who Jeremy Renner is, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you heard any of his music?
It's so bad.
Oh my God, dude. It's like Jeep commercial Imagine Dragons. I really hate to take aim, but
yeah,
I don't feel bad when it's just somebody like Jeremy Renner, whom I really admire his act. I love he's in great movies, but dude, that shit is piss poor.
Leave music to us.
God, this sounds like the conversation we had last week with skateboarders.
Yeah. Yeah, skate if that's what you're good at. Don't take our music, assholes. It's the one thing we can do.
I mean, I get it, but yeah, it was the professional skaters that start mediocre bands and then get signed to major labels.
Yeah.
You're like, wait.
Yeah, didn't he make an app and then kind of lose his mind too?
He did make an app, didn't he?
Who are you talking about?
Jeremy Renner.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He had the Jeremy Renner social network app.
Dude, I don't know. Hey, Jer, stick to movies, bro. Thank you.
Seriously. All right, so check this one out. This song is called You Ain't Coming Back.
you safe. One of these days I'm ahead for the list, don't let anybody tell you that you. These are the eyes that saw them die. These are the hands that dug their graves. So don't let anybody tell you that you're safe. So don't let anybody tell you that you're safe. You gotta let go, let go, let go. You gotta let go, shine. You gotta let go, let go, let go. You gotta let go, let go. Who dares come to where I'm standing?
Radio friendly.
Oh, and by the
Dude.
way, you're going to learn something, too, if you listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If all we accomplish with this is getting more people to listen to Zeal and Ardor, I'm
Completely.
Yeah, I'm
accomplished.
spreading the word. I literally blown away. Like, that song was so cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely, it has that, it's not the Imagine Dragon sound because they appropriated it from the source, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, that belongs to someone else.
Yeah.
But that was really, really cool, man. That was
And
well
Completely.
done.
They're cool because they tour as he plays guitar and there's a second guitar player and then he sings. He does the harsh vocals and the clean vocals. He has 2 mics set up on the stage, and they have a bass player and a drummer and then a mini choir. He has like a 2-person choir.
Man.
Yeah. So all the backups are
See,
are
on
there.
stage and their cloaks.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Like if you're in a band and even if you're gonna trigger those things when you play live, at least you get to sonically experience them. And as long as it's not like you're triggering how many things, but dude, to have those components there live
Yeah.
is so important. It makes. I know it's a pain in the ass, but goddamn, it's so much cooler.
It makes a difference. Yeah.
yeah.
And they have triggers. They trigger like there's a lot of like chains, like
Chains.
clanking
Oh,
chains,
Hammers
and
banging.
Yeah,
foot
those are
stomps.
synth patches. That's kind of like
Yeah.
as a Rush fan, who are we to argue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
The first time we saw them was at Psycho in 2017. They played the first show in the big room, the like 4,000 seat room on Saturday or Friday, and you could tell he was really frustrated. It started kind of late, and then I ran into him, and we were blown away, like utterly blown away. We ran into him in the hallway, and he was like pissed off. He was really frustrated, and I guess none of his triggers worked. None of the samples worked, and they just made them play the set without it. And
It was totally different.
I was like,
So different.
but I was like, I know what it feels like to be on stage and not have it go your way, not have it sound the way it's supposed to sound. But it was incredible anyways.
Oh yeah, completely.
And he was just
I think that when you have a bad show and then you have someone come up to you after and tell you, how cool it was or how great they thought it was, and you have all these things running through your mind about, how the 100 ways it didn't go right.
Yep.
But there's that one person that one thing went right, and that's what you do it for. So
Yeah,
and you don't know, like, they don't know what went wrong unless it was something absolutely major. They don't notice that because they don't have
notice.
the ear, and they don't play the songs.
yeah.
Yeah,
I could notice the treble on your guitar was a little loud this time.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, and I've seen them play live, like studio sessions and stripped down sessions, and just his voice and those songs is all they need. The other stuff is window dressing, but even just acoustic, they're amazing. So
you can tell we're dealing with a massively talented individual here. So
Yeah, completely.
And
Completely.
go ahead.
he's also kind of a funny weirdo too. He's like he did one of those like Slay at Home Fest sets where mostly he just did like kind of stand up routine. Yeah, so
That's great, man.
even more charming.
Completely. Well, hey, Matt, let's talk about
Yes.
you. This is the part of the show where we talk about our guests that do cool shit.
Okay.
So you are currently in 2 bands, right? Villain and Only Ghosts.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. Let's make a clarification here while we're hot on the issue. I am actually no longer a member a member of Villain.
Really?
Yeah, for a couple months. This is the last EP that I'll be on. Yeah, we had some different ideas about, what a record should sound like. And obviously me and all those dudes have been friends for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
I was basically like the fifth wheel in Reality, and Jeff, Reality was kind of a big deal for us back in the day. They were a local band. And so me getting to play with those dudes was massive to me. And it just so happens that the singer for Reality is basically like my brother. We're brothers. Trent and I are super, super tight. We're really good friends. And some of that difference in opinion was starting to cause some tension. And I would rather be friends with all those guys than be in a band all day long. So I just decided 100%. to step away. So I'm sure when live music becomes a thing, God, I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna be playing shows with them. I'll get to say goodbye that way. If not, I might just be a fixture of their live thing. And that's really why I play music anyway. Yeah. So
there was 3 guitarists, right?
Jay kind of dipped out for a little bit. He had some business and some family things. He was having a second little girl, and so he's like, I'm going to step away. The door was open, so I think he's back in now. And I'm not really sure what they're working on going forward, but yeah, it was about the tail end of the recording sessions for Act 3 of Getaway that we just decided like, hey, it's better if I step back. And obviously we're still
matters more than the band, right?
Yeah. And always. Those guys, I'm pretty hard on myself, and I don't know if perfectionist isn't the word, but I have a certain idea of how things sound in my head. And if they don't do that, I start to bitch about it. And it drags people down, and I don't want to subject them to that sort of, downerism. So I was just like, I'll step back and, let them do their thing. And I'm so super stoked on the record. There's some great tracks. I got to contribute a lot to it, and that is awesome. So awesome. Just to clarify that
works. And then Only Ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that bums me out, because that new record from Villain is great. And, I love hearing all of these guys that I grew up with that, I played shows with back in the 90s. And, it was kind of like this super group. You got Jay from Prod Iron, and you from March Hare, and Trent from Suspension of Disbelief. And wait, who's playing drums? Gavin, right? Is it Gavin?
Gavin was playing drums, and now it's Brad, who was our bass player. For a long time. Brad just moved to drums. Justin was actually playing bass for a minute. Just a few little lineup tweaks, and now
Spencer's part of the band.
Yeah, Spencer's playing bass now, and it's seriously, what a great addition, dude. Spencer is a rad dude.
Yeah, a ton of bands.
Reality, Mayberry, Daisy Gray. Was he Daisy Gray?
Hudson River School, I think.
Hudson River School, yeah. Just dude, a bunch of great guys, and like I said, I'll still be playing live with them. So
yeah, totally.
Whenever
What about Only Ghosts? Because we kind of talked about at the beginning, like Only Ghosts is like nothing. It's really like nothing like Villain, right? So where did that start? How long have you been doing that? And
it's been about a year and a half. Kind of been a little break. We put out that EP and stuff. Sean and I have been friends for a long time. I actually used to date his sister. And then I really, I loved hanging out with her family and stuff, and just I liked him a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've been friends ever since, and we were in a band in like the early part of the 2000s called Beyond God's Eyes. The music's on MySpace. You can go check it out. But it was some kind of old schoolish like metal. I absolutely love the dog shit out of guitar harmonies, and it's full of that kind of stuff. And there's plenty of that on the Only Ghost EP too. But yeah, we've been talking about it. Sean lives in American Fork, which is about a 30-minute drive from where I live, and we just started passing these song ideas to each other. And I had some songs that had kind of been sitting on for a minute, and we just threw it together. And a lot of it is about Sean had lost his mom to cancer and his dad to cancer in a very short time. And so a lot of the songs really, it's kind of a grief record. And a lot of the songs are about dealing with all those things. And I think the last song on the record is called Light My Way. And I kind of retooled the lyrics, and it's just really about coming out of a long winter, literally and existentially. And so that closer is kind of an uplift, and that's typically how I like to end my things, is on a positive note. So yeah.
Interesting.
Totally.
Can I hear a little bit of Light My Way?
Should we listen to Light My Way?
Sure, why not?
All right.
So now do you both sing, or is this all you? Or is this him?
Yeah, I do the main vocals. Sean does all the backups. I think there's a song that Sean just does the vocals for, and I can't think of what that is at the time. Yeah, a lot of that, that song I wrote. I wrote the music and lyrics for that song. Most of the other stuff is Sean wrote the music, and he wrote like the vocal patterns for, and then I'd fill in the blanks with some lyrics and just kind of my own take on the thing. So yeah.
Gotcha. And this came out late last year, this album?
Yeah.
It's like late 2019.
Yeah.
It's good. It's funny listening to that after hearing you talk about music and your influences. I can immediately hear a whole bunch of them, from Hetfield style phrasing to
context, right? Context
to EVH, guitar parts.
Those big chords, man.
Those big chords.
There's even the solo at the end is kind of my nod to Neil Schon from Journey, who's another. I love him. I love Journey. I love Neil Schon. I think he's underrated. I don't think people give him enough credit for what he does. His solos are so vocal and musical, and he gets into the Weedle territory for sure. Yeah. But man, he's a god. He's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes we all want to hear a little Weedle Deedle.
Yeah, a little.
I don't know. Like I know you being a metalhead from the Bay Area. Like I could see you having some serious Journey hate, though.
No, I don't think you're allowed to hate Journey.
Okay,
really,
that's good.
Journey's multiple bands, though. There's the pre-Steve Perry, pre-Radio Journey, which I still listen to.
I'm a huge fan too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's if I have to hear When the Lights Go Down in the City one more time in my life, I might die. But
that and Wheel in the Sky, like, can we call a moratorium for real? Just put them away.
Just a moratorium.
Put them away.
That would be good. It's funny to those like 70s and 80s radio, big radio bands that had a prehistory of doing something much more interesting, like Chicago and Journey, and it's so weird to see how the business molded them as they went on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that Journey was kind of heading that way. They just worked with the tools that they had. Yeah. But you're so right, though. It is like it is the business really led them that way, and I don't know.
Yeah, and with this all this DIY platform stuff, we don't have to deal with any of those assholes. Nope. I mean, sure, I'd like to make enough money to make a living making the music, but at the very least, if I'm not going to make money, nobody's telling me what I should and shouldn't do, which is awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe we can dig into like one Villain song.
Dude, let's play.
You're no longer there, but let's pick.
I'm still there, dude. I mean, I wrote a lot of these songs, and
no, exactly.
We're still boys. I'm, part of the mob. I'm gonna rep their gear, and I'm gonna promote them any chance I get. So yeah, man.
Is there a trick to finding it on?
Is it on?
Just because there's 8 million bands called Villain.
Yeah,
it's on Bandcamp.
There are a lot of bands
so
called
many.
Villain, and I did not pre-prepare this one.
I would search it as Villain and then The Getaway. That's how I found it.
Yeah. So yeah, this came out last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, funny story though. Villain owns the rights to the name. So if anybody makes money off that name, they can hit him with this. They can hit him with cease and desist.
Oh
and
my gosh!
Funny enough, it's so. Have you ever heard of a band called Five Finger Death Punch? So unfortunately, yeah, I know. Anyway, so Ivan Moody, we read on like metalsucks.net or some like metal reporting site that Ivan Moody was going to start like a kind of like hard rock band called Villain, and we were like, nope.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's certain members of the band that have more money than others, and he slapped some cash on the barrelhead and went to work legally on that. And I don't know, just kind of like the little guys being like, yeah, screw you.
Funny. That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah,
who thought of that?
It was probably Justin, or it was probably Justin and Trent, but
nice, smart.
So
which song should we listen to?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. I mean, I have what I think my favorite is, and we could do that. Or you could just
dude, that's gonna be cool too. I think Our Time is really cool to me. I think that's a great song. It's also easy for me to say that too because I think that's the one. I don't play a lick on that song, and that's kind of to me the issue with Villain in a nutshell is like I can offer myself no critique on that because it's not me, and I think it's really cool. I can step away.
That makes sense. All right.
Forgiveness is really cool though. There's a lot of cool moments in Forgiveness. What was your favorite, JD?
I really like Destroy Everything.
Oh, dude, that's
great.
I think if you're gonna play that, that's not bad. That's really cool because that's a collaborative effort between me and Jay. Like we walked into practice one day and Jay kind of had something and he's like, dude, let's do like a Sepultura style riff. And I went right to town and you get that chorus riff.
Yeah.
That's a Sepultura riff. So
yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
Completely.
Destroy
let's do this.
Everything.
Let's
do it.
do this.
Okay.
Life is just a collection of real-time distractions and counting your losses. All the things that you desire is a reflection of how empty your life is. In the end, all you've been through amounts to nothing in truth. We're just desperately searching for something to hold on to. Please don't leave me here alone, just when I needed you. How much can this mean if you can turn and walk away? Sometimes it feels I'm determined to destroy everything. I meant every word. There was a time you meant so much to me. Sometimes it feels the best moments are lifting. Everything good has to come to an end.
I can just picture Trent up on stage holding that mic, pointing his finger.
Oh, dude. Dude,
Trent is seriously like probably one of the greatest frontmen in all of like Salt Lake music. I mean, that guy has more energy on stage than anybody I've ever seen.
He absolutely kills himself to do that, and like, you know, he pulls his hat down low,
Yep.
and just dominates the stage. Like, I got to stay out of his way because he, you know, his arms are as big as my thighs, and he'll shove me, and I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and that's
dude,
what you need. I mean, that's how you get. You know, you can't be a band that just stands up there and kind of just does their thing. Like, the audience gets into it, they feed off your energy. When you have a front man like that. Oh,
Villain has those members. Justin, you heard.
Everybody can't be moving all the time.
No, dude, we kill each other. And
Yeah,
completely.
especially old men.
Yeah.
oh, dude, like I have to like do so many stretches before I play live that because I go full into it, like nod my head and stuff. Yeah, Trent just stalks the stage like a pro, man. You know, it's so cool. And again, like if I'm only in Villain in a live capacity, what more could I ask for? Like it's just, that's just watching that dude just move around and like. I think a video came up, or it was like a flashback on Facebook or whatever, and it was a year ago. Was it 2 years ago when we opened for Suicidal Tendencies in the big room at I can't remember the venue right now, but dude, I remember we started and there was no one out there, and we played our first song, and I looked up and there's all these people that just kind of rushed the stage, and that's like, I was like, holy fuck.
That's what you always hope for as an opener, right? Like, what can we do
like,
to get people to get up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I just had one of those moments, and I saw a lot of people were like bobbing their head and stuff, and Trent's thrashing about. That song is a barn burner for sure.
I love it. It's so
good. I think it's pretty
good.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fun. Stage can be a dangerous place. We were on tour a year and a half ago, playing in LA, downtown LA at the 5-Star Bar, and I'm kind of near the front of the stage, and I don't know what went through his mind, but for some reason Troy pushed me in the back, and I didn't even know he was behind me, and I was going forward off the stage, and the monitor was right in front of me. So I was about to trip over the monitor, catch my foot on the monitor, and faceplant on the floor, and at the very last second I hopped just enough to clear the monitor and land on the floor in front of me and not die. But I have never been so close to death. If I had caught my toe on the top of the monitor, I would have been dead.
Are you a low slung bass guy, or are you like John Denver?
I'm a mid.
Okay.
I'm reasonable.
Okay.
Reasonable.
Yeah.
You're not playing down by your knees.
No, I mean, I probably would have been happiest in a hardcore band, geeked out, super high, like a jazz player.
You're not Duff McKagan.
No, or the dude from Church of Misery. That's fucking ridiculous. Down at his ankle.
I think, dude, Danny Lilker from Nuclear Assault and Stormtroopers and millions of other things, he's a pretty low bass guy too. But you could probably pull the bass out of the way enough, because if it's down below your knees, you're
going down.
You're toast. You're done.
I have it. I play fingerstyle, and I rest my thumb on the top of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's exactly how I play bass.
So I got it. I can pick it up and move it around if I need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. I just looked back at Trent. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? trying to kill me? We're not 20 anymore."
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So Matt, it was fucking great having you on the show. We're gonna wrap this up with one last question for you.
Okay.
I think we're gonna do this going forward for our guests. So, all-time favorite band from your hometown?
Wow.
Tough one, right?
I mean, dude, it's a no fucking brainer. None brains. Iceburn, dude. Iceburn, man, we're talking about hiking up your guitar. I think there's a bit in the Slug Mag documentary, and I think that I was talking, me and Josh Wells were speaking, and I was recanting a story about how the minute I saw them, and even Jeff Johnson from Makeshift, and those dudes, like, they thought they were like Django or whatever, and they were playing all the way up here. The minute I saw that, like, I had to hike my guitar all the way up to my tits and play like that, and like it wasn't even comfortable. But Iceburn made such an impact on me with those first 2 records.
Oh yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to have them on vinyl because they sound so incredible, and they were so amazing to see live, and I got to see them 8 billion times.
Mm-hmm.
Just so cool. I really wish I could have seen an old school show when Jeremy was the singer. I saw a reunion show.
Either.
I saw a reunion show, which is probably in, I don't know, 2000 whatever, which was absolutely like stunning. It was so cool. And then he switched off and did like more of the Fire and Hephaestus kind of stuff. Yeah. Without a doubt, Iceburn is probably the coolest band to come out of Salt Lake. Like, and it's funny how they get kind of thrown into the hardcore thing because it's pretty much progressive metal and nothing other. And man, if Jeff, if you haven't checked them out,
I have. He talks about them all the time. So.
And you're like, stop playing Iceburn, JD. I get it.
No. They're so far up my alley. Yeah. It's perfect.
I wish that like they could go back in and like I would love to hear some of those early like Fire On and Hephaestus like with a like really well produced. I can't even imagine because I mean like you listen to that first like. That Fire On is probably one of my all-time favorite albums, but it's horribly produced. I mean, it sounds like a Rev 5 release, you know?
Yeah, and isn't that funny how, if you can remove yourself from the production and really attach yourself to the songs, how important those things can be.
Yeah.
But like, if I heard that today, I'd be like, nope, garbage. Bye.
No, thanks.
Yeah. And
completely.
I am such a sucker for clean production, and it doesn't even have to be. I guess clean isn't what I mean. I don't mean polish. I mean things were set up the right way, and you get like a great take naturally, and then you have a good thing to work with. You know?
Yeah.
And so there's a bit of naivete in liking Fire. I think that Hephaestus is a little different. It pops a little more, and there's a little more kind of a mid-range on the guitar sound. It's not so scooped and like Pantera vulgar display of power, which it ain't that good, man. It ain't that great of guitar sound, people. It still rips, but yeah, I totally agree. If we could get that recorded with some more of the modern kind of the more modern kind of things that we have, so yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah. Hey, so since it's our first time, we should both go too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Salt Lake, is it same for you?
I mean, mine's exactly the same.
It's Iceburn?
I mean, Iceburn is, and not even just hometown. Like, they're one of my favorite bands of all time. It's just fucking incredible.
That makes it easy. It's me. This is
Jeff. You got to go now.
This is a hard one, but it's gonna all be part of a stable, and I really will stick to San Jose specifically because it's easy to say my hometown includes Oakland and San Francisco.
Do I know where this is going?
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Of course, right?
Well,
San Jose?
So no, maybe not.
No?
So it's in the neighborhood. So the easy answer would be Sleep, right? Yeah. Despite what everyone says, when that band founded and blew up, they were a San Jose band. Closely associated to Sleep was a band called Dear Deceased that never escaped San Jose, but in that time period, we all thought Dear Deceased was the band that was going to get huge and Sleep was the band that was going to disappear because they were just too fucking loud and just didn't see how anyone would pull it off. But in truth, a band that kind of merged both of those bands that barely escaped San Jose for a brief period of time is a band called Operator Generator. And Operator Generator was Mitch French, who was the singer for Dear Deceased, and then Tom Choi, who was the other guitar player in Asbestos Death with Matt, in a prog metal odyssey like you have never seen before. It is it's like what Sleep could have been if there were 3 times as many riffs and way more time changes, especially the first album. But find the record Polar Fleet by Operator Generator. I think it's pretty much posted up everywhere. They were on Man's Ruin when Kozik was still signing bands like crazy and exposing the world to Caius and High on Fire and the Melvins and everybody else. They were a Man's Ruin band. They were on tour with Mastodon, and they broke up in the middle of the tour. Just had like an epic band meltdown in the middle of the tour. That our friend John Boy played drums on that tour, and he said it was just the biggest shit show he's ever seen in his whole life. They're just young, having way too much fun, getting in a lot of trouble. So do yourself a favor and go find Operator Generator's album Polar Fleet and listen to it. Way ahead of its time. If that album came out on any of the like stoner or doom labels right now, it would be everyone's favorite album in 2020 in kind of the proggy stoner doom world.
I'm gonna go right to it, man, for sure.
It's good. After Zealand Ardor and after
you got a lot of listening to do today,
dude. I learned so much today. This is such a learning experience. It's so cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. It was so great seeing you.
I really appreciate it, man.
Dude,
We'll see you on the socials.
I hope that one day the travel thing is lifted and it's safe to like get on a plane, because I want to come have a beer and have you guys show me around and like see. San Jose sounds like it has a killer ass music scene, and I know there's a ton of great food there, and Homeboy likes to eat. So
we can do that.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to going to restaurants again soon.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Not
one day.
And going to shows, and I mean, JD and I, this has been so crazy for us because before the middle of March, we were playing a show, putting on a show, booking a show, or at a show every multiple nights a week.
Seriously.
Such a massive change to our daily routine that we had to do this just so that we could talk about music with people.
If I could make it so all this wouldn't have happened for you to do a podcast, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't. But I'm glad something came up. This is a cool podcast. It's a great show. I'm super honored and stoked you guys had me on. Thanks for asking me to do it. Maybe we can do it again sometime. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, Matty.
Thanks, you guys.
All right.
Yeah, take care.
See you later. Thanks for joining us for another week of Blynd Submyshynz. See episode description for links to all artists discussed in this episode, and visit their sites to support them directly by buying music and merch. Share links to the podcast or YouTube videos with your friends, especially if they're in bands. Bands! If you want us to listen to your music on a future episode, please submit one song to blyndsub@gmail.com. That is blyndsub, BLYNDSUB @gmail.com. Bandcamp links preferred, but not required. Find us on social media at Blynd Submyshynz. Full video episodes are available on our YouTube. Remember, we go in blind, so you don't have to. Blynd Submyshynz.